Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming into this special edition of According to Sacha podcast. You know, we're with you on every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But every now and then I'll break the rules and I'll do a special edition and I'll bring somebody special on and we just have a good conversation on the weekend. So here we are. And before I get into all of that, you know what we got to do. So you have to like, follow, and share. Like, follow, and share all of our platforms because what you do for this platform, you do for everyone else that comes on it. And we just want to make sure we just broadcast to everyone who how extraordinary people are, you know, what they're doing in their lives. And this is what the whole conversation series is all about with all the entrepreneurs, all the motivational speakers, creatives, anybody that actually graces this platform. They're extraordinary in what they do and they're phenomenal. So we just want to make sure we get the word out about everything that they're doing. But today I have my special guest is Liana Zavo of Zavo Media PR Group. I don't know why I just had a brain fall right then and there, but I guess because I'm excited. I'm excited to bring her on because one of the things that I really love doing, and I'm quite sure you all have seen that, is really building my visibility. And right now I have an expert here and she's going to share and drop some gems about how you could do that, how you can become and recognize expert in your industry, in your niche, and the importance of it. You know, it's not all about just social media. There is a whole slew of opportunities out there that you can only do by the press and publicity. So I'm going to bring her on. But before I do have a show sponsor, which is Snatching Bodies Beauty Bar and out of Hampton. So if you're here locally in the 757 area, you know, we got that 2 up, 2 down, you know what I'm saying? But if you're in the 757 area, or even 804 if you want to drop down, you know, you want to come and check out Erica Jefferson and her business with Snatching Bodies Beauty Bar. And then after that, I will have Miss Zavo on with us. I'll be back.
Hello, my name is Erica Jefferson and I am the owner of Snatching Bodies Beauty Bar located here in Hampton, Virginia, where we offer facials, facials, sugar waxing, hard wax, and intimate bleaching and much more. We also offer all natural and organic body care products, as well as always accepting new clients. Come check us out. The holidays are approaching and we hope to see you soon.
Entrepreneurship, small business, is something that everybody would love to do, making their own money. And this is what we will be talking about on According to Sacha. Hey, Liana, how are you?
Hi, Sacha. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to introduce you once again to our guest. So this is Miss Liana Zavo. She is the founder and CEO of ZavoMediaPR Group. And she's a Forbes contributor. She has a whole list of things. She is a trailblazer. What's all the words I could give you? The disruptor, just everything. And we're going to go ahead and kind of get into her story, kind of get into what she's doing. But she's also here to really give us a lot of gems about how to be that recognized expert in your industry, in your niche. And so I want you to come and flood the chat with some questions, because this is your opportunity to ask these questions right now while you have a media expert right in front of you. So, Liana, I have a question. So my first question for you is, tell the world or tell my audience, who is Liana Zavo?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor, Sacha. Every time I do a podcast, I feel so overwhelmed with joy because sharing my nuggets is what I excel in, right? And who am I? Well, first of all, I am not a jack of all trades. I am a PR pro. I'm a strategist. I am CEO and founder of my company PR agency that went global this year, of Zavo Media PR Group. I'm a female advocate, which ties into amplifying voices in the press and media. And every year during the holidays, I give back to 50 women that I feel that are groundbreaking and have something to share and are impacting the world. And I will share your voice with the world. So here I am speaking with you. I mean, I have amplified your voice and I'm excited.
And I want to say thank you so much for doing that and helping me to amplify, my voice. I mean, and I just want to say to everyone out here, the things that you're doing, it's attached to a purpose. And when you're in your purpose and you're going with the ideas or the things you want to talk about, the things you're doing in your niche, in your industry, the world has to know about it. And so in order for that to happen, you have to get out here and you have to, speak. You have to show your voice. And it's not always audible. It is in a written format as well. And that's the journey I have been on, Liana, over the past year in doing so. So I really thank you for helping me to close out my year in such a magnificent way. And so I would like to know, how did you really transcend into, the public relations?
It was a journey. I think that your life should be a journey. It shouldn't be a destination, right? But ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to follow in my grandmother's footsteps, right? She was a journalist from my mother's side, and I wanted to be a journalist, right? I wanted to be in that world of where I can tell stories. But something along the way didn't work out, right? My mother was not for it, even though her mother was a journalist traveling the world and whatnot. And she said, look, my mom was really not always with us, and I don't want to put you in that same position. I don't want you to travel all over the world. You won't be able to have that family, that strong foundation. So pick something that's super, I would say, secure, and a 9 to 5, and just be there when your husband gets home and be there for your kids, right? So that's the mentality I was raised with. And obviously, I'm such a rebel at heart. I'm like, that is not what I want to pursue. I don't want to do a 9 to 5. I don't want to, I'm very free spirited, right? And so I don't understand what 9 to 5 is, because looking at my father, he's an entrepreneur running a whole, hospitality, many restaurants in hospitality. And so I was thinking, how do I do a 9 to 5 when my father is like, he can be anywhere in the world at any time, right? So he's just free, that freedom, which you can't buy. And so, as a woman, obviously, in my culture, in my community, there's not much we can say, especially when you're making a decision at 17, 18 years old. So I had to comply with my mom, mostly. And I said, okay, fine, no. The closest to journalism that I can find is speech pathology. So I'll do speech pathology. I hated it from the get-go. Like, I went to college, but before that, I got married. So I got married at 18, was going to college at the same time, and pregnant. And so pursuing speech pathology was something that was like mundane, right? It was like the same thing every day. It was super boring to me. And I'm like, how am I going to even do this? But I did it for the sake, because obviously I promised my mom I'm going to do something, and I'm going to pursue a degree, right? Because I was already thinking, like, I'm going to switch degrees and do something possibly different without her knowing. But obviously she was helping me and pay for the college, right? I wasn't really working. And when you depend on your parents, you can't really say much, right? You can't do
Right.
much. So, and then you think your parents know better. But she was sheltering me from like the reality of the world, right? She was telling me to be that perfect person, that wife, that mother.
Yeah.
And so I was miserable going to school every day, right? And so then I gave birth to my son, and obviously didn't stop going to school, taking finals and exams. Everything was just so nerve-wracking. And just after my divorce, I decided that this was not the path for me. I went from Queens College to LIU, and that's a private college. So Queens College is public; it's a city. And then when you get into a private school, right, LIU, it's very expensive. And so then I took a loans upon myself, and I decided that now I have a voice, because it's paying for me, and I decide what I'm going to do. So as I was switching majors to PR, my divorce happened, and I couldn't pursue it because of everything that's happening, right? And I decided that I just have to leave school. I have to drop out because I have to raise my son, and I'll come back to if it's meant to be. I'll come back to school and finish my degree in PR and communications, because I already switched myself from speech pathology. And yeah, I never got a chance to go back, but I did have mentors along the way. There were so many things that I did after I dropped out. I became a stylist. I was silent for 10 years, and so it was fun. It was an amazing journey, but it wasn't fulfilling. And so then I decided, when I met my client who I was styling, she saw me as a visionary. She's like, look, you're a visionary, and I think you should be working for my company. So I said to her, as what? As whom? As a consultant, and then I'll introduce you to my PR agency. Mind you, I was already thinking of, going back to PR, and I was already handing out my resumes to a lot of PR agencies, and I was rejected, like, from all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so ballsy. I would actually go and be like, oh, I'm here for a job interview. Like, did you have it for him? Like, no, but I'm here for a job interview.
Right.
And so like literally, I mean, she took me and she's like, okay, let's speak. And obviously, when you're dressed to the T and you have that presentable look, they will take you for 5-10 minutes, I hope, like, to give you some sort of respect.
Mm-hmm.
But she would ask me, like, so what school did you graduate from? Do you have any experience? Like, look, lady, I'm a college dropout. I wanted to pursue PR. Like, I told her the whole thing. I'm like, I'll carry coffee. I'll do whatever it takes to get to the top, right? Because that's the mentality I was already having. I'm like, look, I'm a stylist. I don't even know how to get into PR. Like, it's such a niche thing. Like, it's so hard to break into. And so I was just like lost, right? She's like, we'll call you back. Obviously, they never called back. And so, and then she introduces me, then going back to my client, she introduces me to her PR agency that represents her skincare line, amazing skincare line that was sold in Bergdorf Goodman, right? And at that time, that's where I styled. I styled Bergdorf Goodman, styled all top tier, in the city. So when she introduced me to her PR agency, I'm like, boom, that's exactly where I need to, have my leverage. Because at that time, my family opened up a restaurant in the city. So, I could go and work with my family,
Right.
like, we literally have a restaurant on 3rd Avenue and 63rd on Upper East Side. But again, I'm like rebellious. I don't want to depend on my family. I want to have my own voice. It's work with family, and so I'm like, I got to pave my way. Like, I'm now going to work with family because I've done it. I've done it for 6 months, and I'm like, I can't have them tell me when to take a vacation. I mean, I love them, but
Right.
tell me what to do when I want to do something. I want to take off when I want to take off,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess the rest is history. When she hired me as her consultant, as her visionary, she introduced me to the PR agency, and that's it. We started working together. I started freelancing for the PR agency, which is also located in the city, and basically we had an agreement, right? I gave him an ultimatum, like, look, I want to learn everything about PR. Very honest. I'm like, this is my goal. I'll send you top clients, right? You want the clients, obviously. You'll give me a percentage, and you'll teach me the ropes in PR. And they did. And it was a win-win.
Wow. That's awesome. It's just like so much in that, I was just like, okay, I have to unpack this real quick because there's so many different things and so many ways that, just looking at that part of the journey. And even though it wasn't, it didn't start out as favorable as you wanted it to be, but it became those stepping stones to where you are. Because when you say you went to school for speech pathology, I'm like, okay, well, that's necessary, because you have to speak, you have to be able to project, and how that even helped, in that moment. And then thinking about where you are now, it's just, I mean, that's a wonderful way of showing people, even though those are watching and listening, that it's all about persistence, all about knowing what you want and where you want to go, seeing that, you see that vision from afar, but you're doing what you need to do to bring it into reality. And Liana, you definitely did that. And I know I saw recently, because you talked about your mom. I saw recently she had her birthday, and you blessed her with a spa day.
Yeah.
And that was so wonderful, to see that and see her smile. So is she now like, oh, okay, I'm just going to embrace the journey with you now? Or
Yeah, it was hard to tell her, like, this is what I'm going to be doing. And but she understood, she understands how much value I bring, and clients are happy, and she is happy for me. I finally found myself. I'm like, Mom, if you only let me do this sooner, I wouldn't go through all this headache, right? But
Yeah.
then, who knows if I graduated and I would be in the same position I am now? Maybe
Right.
who knows, right? So I am grateful, however destiny was meant to be, right? And
Yes.
turned out, this is the way it's supposed to be. And so, you can't run away from it.
Definitely can't do that. You cannot run away from it because destiny is going to put you in the place where you're supposed to be. I firmly believe that for myself because if it wasn't for the pandemic, I still probably be running around like, oh, I'm just going to be in the shadows. I'm just going to do what I need to do. But it took the pandemic to happen for me to put me into the position where I am now. And I'm like, why didn't do it sooner? It's like get out my own way sooner. But I really want to kind of go and dig into the heart of everything that we're here. I mean, definitely having you here is the heart in itself. But let's go ahead and kind of break down some of these things and how, the viewers and listeners can really, for all the small businesses out there, entrepreneurship and everything that you're doing, how can they become that recognized expert in their niche?
So, I represent the face behind the brand, right? So it's more about personal connection for me. It's not about representing a whole corporation on its own, right? It's not about representing a product. I'm about representing who is the face, who is running this company. So once I find out, this is the CEO, this is the founder, and hopefully they're one, or maybe there are two, but it's fine. But I like to work with one. I need to see if they're a good fit for PR, right? If you are considering yourself a founder or CEO, but you are a jack of all trades, that's why I started my sentence when you said, who is Liana Zavo? I am not a jack of all trades, right? You cannot excel in what you want to be successful in if you're doing 10 different things and saying, okay, you know what, I am a stylist, I am also a realtor, and I am also a makeup artist. And like, girl, like niche down, who are you, and be valuable to your audience, right? So if you're a realtor, let's just take realtor, for example, right? A real estate developer, and I have a lot of those clients, right? You're a real estate developer, right? Whatever you're doing on the backside, that's none of our business. Well, however you want to project yourself to the audience and whoever you want to attract, investors that you want to attract in order to go bigger, right? That's why I have expanded into London, Dubai, Paris, Australia, right? This year. So because if I am going to give you that reach, I make sure that if you are global, I need to stay relevant with you. So relevance is another aspect of PR. Let's niche down, stay relevant, right? If you're global and you're working with a PR agency that's not global, we're not going to work, right? Make sure we are aligned, our values are aligned, right? I am not for everyone. So, it's fine, it's okay. But this is what I chose to do, right? This is how I chose to work with my clients. The next thing is, what's my reach, right? When clients start working with me, what is my reach? How far can I go? What is my Rolodex of journalists I work with, right? I make sure that I deliver content to my clients every month that we promise to deliver, right? So we don't stall time. And the most important thing is to have the relationship with journalists, knowing that, okay, this is a strategy, a 30-60-90 strategy I'm providing you, and this is what we're going to be giving you. When it comes down to working with a client, I'm very specific. Like, if you cannot speak in front of TV or give interviews, or you're shy, there is a mentorship program that I have, and I can help you overcome that hurdle, right? And gain that confidence and help you speak in sound bites and make sure you do speak on TV. You do speak properly. How Good Morning America wants you to speak in like 3 to 4 minutes, but get your message across. Like, you have to hone in on your message, right? So that's another aspect of my PR agency we do as well. There's so many ways, to curate a strategy for you. Every person is different. So I hope I answered your question.
Oh, yes, definitely. And I love the fact that you have the mentorship part, to it. Because a lot of times people, they deal with that. They could be confident in everything, but when it comes down to having to be seen and do the videos or have those cameras in front of them is where they shy away from. And in a sense, if you're going to go further, you really do have to show up, even if it's simple as is doing the videos on social media. So many people I've come across, they're like, no, I'm just not there yet. But how are you supposed to be seen? Because it's like, there's so many different parameters around what you do and how you put your content out there. So I love everything that you said. Now, if you were to, I know you say you have to niche down, you have to stay relevant. And also, I know even with trends and just staying really attent to the trends. And one of the things that I always hear and is very popular is knowing what people are really looking for or what the press is really looking for. So, is there anything that you can touch on that?
Absolutely valuable, right? How valuable are you? Your content, how newsworthy is it? And so when you can bring value to your audience, then I can say, okay, this is what I would like to take that content and then make sure that I, obviously relay that to a journalist and make sure it's valuable. But before even relaying that message to a journalist, I need to work with you one on one and say, okay, what do you bring to the table? A lot of the founders don't even know how powerful they are, right?
Mhm.
Oh, I open up this company and I'm running it and I'm very, very well off. But I'm like, okay, well, there's another educational part to you. People after, especially after COVID, it has transitioned the way you do business right now. It's very hands-on, face to face. You gotta humanize the experience because it's not all about just hey, it's not like, can you talk to her? It's, I want to talk to the founder. Like, I want to be close with the founder, and so it's not about your secretary or assistant getting to me. And what happens is I teach them the educational part aspect of it. I'm like, okay, look, you're so valuable, but people don't know how valuable you are. Let's create a summit for you, for instance, right? So I come up with these different ideas of how to project their idea. I'm like, let the summit be about this. This is how you're going to cultivate the summit. It's going to be 21 days, for instance. These are the speakers you're going to have on.
Right.
Like, for instance, I have a lot of clients who are coaches and speakers, as I said, real estate developers, legal, lawyers, fintech is huge. Lawyers and doctors, like, they have been recent. I started out my career with speakers and coaches, right? So if you are just like you, right? So you're a business strategist,
Yeah.
a coach as well. So
Hmm.
you have to hone in on that. People buy from people on an emotional level. So if they can emotionally connect with your story, they will buy from you, right? That's why when I took your interview, it was supposed to be on an emotional level so people can connect with you and, like, you know what? I've gone through that. I actually feel what she went through. And I know that she'll be a perfect person to help me in my business strategy, right? So that's the idea.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love the fact when you talked about even, using events as opportunities like virtual events and being able to pull that and creating your own platforms. And that right there in itself, it can cross so many different ways because you're creating a platform for yourself. It helps you to practice also. I love using opportunities to practice even for myself. But when you do that, you have a way of setting yourself up as an expert. I love to call it like I always like to call it the psyche behind marketing. It's like the psychology behind it because people don't need to know what's behind the scenes. All they do is show up and they see you. And when you're projecting that valuable content on your own platform, it's like how much greater does that look to them and make them gravitate to you even the more. And one last question I do have for you regarding this subject that we're talking about. Even, the prominent publications, being able to, I mean, because there's different forms. I hear people say your low-hanging tree, publications, and then you have your prominent ones. Can I just dig into that a little bit as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're just starting out and just trying to amplify your voice, and depends on your recognition, right? How much of an authority do you have in the press, right? Are you, for instance, right? I have a lot of clients who start off as unknown in the press, like their name have never been heard of. And so in order for you to get recognized slowly, obviously you want to have it organically, right? You want to grow organically. So you want to start with local news, regional. But if you already have your name in the press or even on Google and you have some sort of recognition
Yeah.
and you have a lot of followers on LinkedIn and people, love what you bring forth, then it really depends on the strategy, right? I'm like, okay, well, I do once a month, I do a whole listicle of 10 experts on Forbes. So if you're a good fit for that, I might put you in after month 3, we'll work together.
You're right.
sometimes I can put you in the first month, but I'm like, look, you already had so much recognition. I can definitely put you in the first month. Like as soon as
Mhm.
you start working, I'm like, I think you'll be the perfect fit for this. But if you're not heard of and you don't have a story, and I need to build you up,
Yeah.
right? I need to make announcements. I need to make sure people know who you are, that you exist because you were not known before. How do you
Right.
expect to get into Forbes right off the bat, right? It doesn't make sense, right? You want to build up, and Forbes won't even accept you, right? You need to have a proven track record of where you've been featured, all the different publications.
Mhm.
Then obviously it's super credible to be featured in Forbes. It has the highest SEO, and so, yeah, I mean, people love to be featured in such a publication. Inc.
Mhm.
magazine, Entrepreneur magazine, we get you on USA Today, New York Times, New York Post. It really depends on your category, right? So if you are like, I stay away from anything that has to do with lifestyle, and I'm
Mhm.
a lot approached by, oh, I have a lifestyle, company. I sell like handbags or some interior for the handbag. I'm like, look, I cannot feature your product. I can talk
Yeah.
about you, but I'm not going to feature you. Like I don't have affiliations with lifestyle magazines. Like it's not what my niche. I'm not honing in on that. I
Mhm.
mean, I could make
Right.
an exception, obviously, but that's not what I want to make my PR agency known as. I'm not lifestyle. I'm more of the corporate.
Mhm.
It's where I'm honing in on.
Yeah, yeah. Just want to take a moment right here. Like anybody, before we close out, if you have any questions, definitely ask your questions. This is the perfect opportunity to do that, and I want you to come, do your thing. Because one thing that when I'm listening to you, I feel like someone, they need to know exactly what they would love for their strategy to look like, even if they're coming to you and they say, okay, Liana, this is what I have, this is what I want to do, but at least have a clarity, some form of a clarity, so they can really project to you, convey that message. Okay, this is what I'm looking to do, and then from there you can identify more.
Or if they have no idea, right, where to start, I also have that, right? It's a consultation where I charge for the consultation, but I'm going to audit your company. I'm going to, meaning like on social media, see exactly where you've been featured on the Google aspect,
Yeah.
all about press. And then, with my team, obviously we break it down. I give you a 30, 60, 90 strategy. Now if you want to sign up with me after that strategy, go ahead. But if you don't run with it, you have a 90-day strategy of like how to incorporate PR. But
Yeah.
we do give you from inception how you should be incorporating your name in the press and how you should build a strong online reputation, right? So when people Google you, you're top of Google. Make sure you have a Google Knowledge Panel. You make sure you have a Wikipedia page. Make sure you have all of those credentials to be credible. Right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you want to be visible. You want to be credible. You want to get ROI, right? You want to get the results back. But the only way you get your results back if you have the credibility. People need to know there's trust, right? So if I'm
Yeah.
talking to you and I don't know who you helped, I don't know how long you've been in business, right? The trust is not there.
Mhm.
You don't have any articles about you. Nobody writes about you. Nobody represents you. I don't even know if I should be working with you as a business strategist, right? But when you're working with a PR agency like myself, and I'm doing a whole interview about you, and I believe in your mission, and I believe in what you stand for, right? And so people will be inclined more to work with you because it comes from the trust factor.
Right. Yeah. And that's very important, because in everything, it is the trust factor that makes a difference. And because they need to know, and especially if you are a strategist or a coach out here and you're helping people, people want to see, like I always see people say, oh, I want to see the receipts. I have to know what you're doing. And that's like the perfect format, is to be able to, people Google you, you want to be seen, you want to be known, but you have to have that clear message out there too, so they won't get confused about what you're actually doing. But if they see that, then they say, okay, yeah, because people are people, we're all humans,
Right.
and trust issues goes across the board. But people really do want to trust, especially if they're wanting to build something. They know they can't do it by themselves. They need to have somebody there with them. So you have to make sure that they can trust you and you be credible about it. And yeah, so
You
it's
stand out from your competition. Like there's so many business strategists, there's so many publicists and PR agencies, right? How do you
yeah,
stand out from that competition? Even as a PR agency, we're always working on our recognition. right? It's so
Mhm.
important. It's crucial for our story to be heard, right? For
Yeah.
us to relate to others. Like, you know what, I want to work with her. So the reason, we're doing a whole holiday gift bag every year and we include 50 women is because we want others to know, like, this is what we stand for. I'm a
Right.
huge female advocate. Like, I know when I started with zero, connections in the press, I know how hard it was for me to lay brick by brick. That foundation is so strong now. But I
Mhm.
know when nobody really wanted to amplify my voice, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I never heard of anyone that's saying, okay, well, if your story is impactful, like, I'm going to represent you. So what I'm doing is something I really wished that I had someone come to me and say, I really understand where you're coming from and I want your voice to be heard on a national level, even global scale, right? And that's why I wrote my book, Be Seen and Be Heard. I'm just going to grab that real
Yeah.
quick. Yeah, my book, right? Be Seen and Be Heard. That's the reason
Mm.
why I wrote this, is because these are the five, I would say, methodologies, right? And why I have created this is Be Epic. And
Yeah.
each letter stands for something. It's a one-word acronym. So
Mm.
B is for believe. Like, believe in yourself that you can come forth and share your story. Because if you're not vulnerable with your story, right? Nobody can relate to you, right?
Yeah.
And now we're talking about on a level of even being a doctor, right? I have a surgeon. She's like, I don't know. I want to get more leads. I want to, obviously attract a different demographic to my office. I'm like, well, do you have a belief that you can do it? The belief is so important, right?
Yeah.
Because belief turns into a reality. Then
Mm.
you become E is for empowerment. If you start telling your story, you become empowered. How do you become empowered? By telling your story, right? P is for personal satisfaction. And personal satisfaction comes when you build that trust with your audience, right? I didn't care that I'm a college dropout. I didn't care that people think, oh, well, she doesn't really have the credentials. Guess what? There are other ways of gaining credentials, right? You can get mentors along the way who are 10 times smarter than you and who will teach you what it is to, in that niche, in that field. So there are other ways, right? And then, so it's belief, empowerment, personal satisfaction, then your inner core. Believe it or
Mm.
not, your core is where your inner voice comes
Yeah.
forth, right? That belief, that inner voice, that you can do it. I had so many women come up to me and say, how do I share my authentic story? I'm like, afraid to be judged, right?
Yeah.
My family think? What would, like my friends think if I'll come forth? I'm like, well, look, if you want to leave a legacy and if you want to leave a mark, you need to focus on your inner voice. What is that inner voice telling you, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then seize, have the courage to step out. And these are the words, this is the one word acronym that actually
Yeah.
helped in times of weakness. When I was weak, I would say, right? When I didn't know how to portray my voice, when I had my autoimmune disease, when I had to fight that off and I brought myself back into who I am today, right? I had to rewire myself completely, reinvent myself. And the way
Yeah.
to do it is by having a belief system. And so I created this belief system for women, men too, but women are inclined to read this more. The younger entrepreneurs, the female aspiring entrepreneurs who want to pave their way, who want to break out from 9 to 5, because everyone needs a personal brand, right? You work
Yeah.
9 to 5, right? You work the 9 to 5,
Yeah.
correct?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So did you have a personal brand?
No, not when I worked at 9 to 5.
So you were just giving them the recognition, whoever you were working for. But
Mhm.
remember, at the same token, when you're working 9 to 5, you need to create your own personal brand. So
Yeah.
whoever's listening to it right now, right? This conversation. If you're working on 9 to 5, make sure you're creating your own personal brand on the side, because eventually what's going to happen, people will start recognizing you on your own. Because if you
Mhm.
get fired from that job, right? If
Yeah.
you're gonna get hired again somewhere, your great like authority will follow you online. Online reputation will follow you. All you have
Yeah.
to say to them is Google me and you'll see. So whatever you're doing for the company,
Mm.
make sure there's a press release about you. I
Yeah.
would say if you are not your own company and you just want to create a personal brand, I can help you do that as well, even if you're working for someone. Because if you have a strong personality like I do, and you want to leave a mark and you want to be a trendsetter and you want to be groundbreaking, then become an authority. Start
Yeah.
writing, just start releasing that voice, like creating that, I believe, recognition about yourself. That's what I would say. So yeah, you guys, this is on Amazon. Be seen and be heard. So be epic, be seen and be heard. These are the 5 simple hacks to my belief system.
You guys, I hope you are running to Amazon right now to get this book because I mean, I love it. Just
It's short.
yeah, and it's an easy read.
It is a very easy read.
Mm-hmm.
It's my first book, and it's not my last. It's self-published, and and hopefully, and I was endorsed by a really well recognized, best-selling author by
Mm-hmm.
Darren Prince. He actually, I reached out to him during the pandemic because since everything has shifted online, and I was not really, I wasn't savvy online at all before the pandemic. Obviously, I would put my pictures out and all that, but I never did a Zoom before. I never
Right.
done any of that. I'm like, when they said the shift happened and now you have to do a Zoom, I had to learn all that. I had to like
Mm-hmm.
hire people to teach me things. I'm like, I had to readjust. And if you did that during a pandemic, I mean, you're unstoppable, right?
Yeah,
And then I
yeah.
took my business this way. I took my whole business online. Before, as I told you, the restaurant in the city is where
Mm-hmm.
I held all my meetings when it came to my PR business. Every client came there. Even my podcast took place over there in this in
Mm-hmm.
Zavo restaurant. So you can just only imagine taking my business from a physical location to online. And I had a whole like a pandemic relief program that I did during the pandemic. I hired 200 women. Not
Mm-hmm.
only they worked for me, I learned from them. They helped me with blogging, with writing posts, with all that. It was
Wow.
amazing. It was such an incredible. There's always a silver lining and everything. And I think
Oh,
the pandemic for me was like the biggest aha moment. I'm like, wow, this really.
yeah, yeah. I just love that because I know, like, even for me, the pandemic was, I like to say it rebirthed me. I just love being able to say that because really it did. Oh, I got some people up here. You know what? I'm sitting here on a whole nother screen in here. I got all these comments coming through. So I'm gonna go ahead and just show them on the screen real quick. All right. So Sierra, I'm a PR student and I was wondering how you would describe the career field since COVID. All right. So you want to go ahead and answer that?
You think that the demand for PR pros is increasing or decreasing? Sierra, the PR pros are increasing, that's for sure. I would highly recommend you to, you know, reach out to me, and we mentor girls. I've mentored over 2,500 girls and helping them amplify their voice and also mentor you. So if you need some sort of mentorship and in PR, I'm more than happy to tell you, and just give you a little bit the ropes of what's going on. But definitely, you know, you can be a freelancer if you're a great writer. There's always a demand. If you're not online, your business doesn't exist. No matter what business you have, no matter who you are, right? What kind of service professional you are, you need to be online. People Google you, people are looking for reviews. People are looking for all of that. What advice do you have for networking strategies? Okay, great questions. Networking strategies would be attending events online, virtual. I would say conferences, right? So for me, for example, since I went global, I am building my recognition right now with going global. So what happened was I was reached out by White Label Expo. It's a huge conference that takes place once a year in different countries, and it took place this past, I believe, September in Javits Center, right in New York. So they reached out to me to saying, "Look, you're a Forbes contributor. Your company went global. Would you want to speak on PR?" Yes, it's a networking opportunity. I didn't get paid for it, but yes, why not? Great content. I'll be there. People obviously fed off my value. They love what I brought forth, and there were some people reached out to me, right? And so there's definitely so many different networking opportunities. You just have to look for them, and you just have to put yourself out there.
Yes, that's wonderful. And I think that was the last question that we had. But I do want to say that everybody, whatever you're looking for and wherever you are right now in your business, and Liana already said she has a mentorship program. She can help you with that. She can help you build strategies. Like she can help you get it together and then push you out there. And this is who you want to work with. And the reason why I'm saying this, I'm not saying, Yes, I'm endorsing you right now. This is the first time I would say that, because the reason why I'm saying this right now is because, like, I know I've met a lot of people, and everybody has their thing behind what they do, and I love it all. But I love your passion. So to have someone who is passionate about not only about what they're doing, but about how their works can help you get to where you need to be and amplify your voice, like that right there is to me is far beyond experience. And just listening to her story and seeing how she got to where she had, so she knows. It's like, if you're getting fed by a bootstrapper, like that's better than a college degree, somebody working with a college degree. When somebody has that balance where they can, because they've been in the grit of it, and they built because of the grit, and their passion is even greater, that's definitely who you want to work with. And so, you know, her information is right here, like hands down. And I love all of this. She's on IG, she's on LinkedIn. I definitely would love for you to follow her, the media group, and then also reach out to her.
Zavo Media PR. I'm sorry to interrupt. At Zavo Media PR on Instagram, at Official Lady Zavo TV. That's my personal. And then you can just email us, right? You can email me at hello@ZavoMediaPR.com, and we can answer any of your questions. And perhaps even if your story fits us and we feel like you're making amazing, things and you're successful or becoming a success story, we'll love to give you a voice.
Definitely. And I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and close. Unless you got anything else to empower everybody with.
I would say this. I want to end it with this. I would say tie your life, right, to not to people or things, but to a goal. And that was said by Albert Einstein, right? And I live by that mantra. I have a goal, right? And I go with that. I run with it, right? I wake up every morning looking forward to exceeding that goal. Even though I have a goal, I want to exceed that. So don't buy any Balenciaga shoes or any other stuff out there. Don't waste your money on any of that. Invest in yourself, invest in your goals. And I'm about to burn my Balenciaga shoes, by the way.
Got it. Noted.
All right. Yes. Thank you so much for having me. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this whole conversation. It's been a joy having you here. We got to get you back on sometime next year just to kind of maybe do something new and do something different. But remember, everybody, go on Amazon, get that book. Start off with that book right now, and then contact Liana and her team and let her get you all set up and straight and amplify your voice. And on that note, everybody, I want you to command your day in everything you do and be great. And we'll see you next time. Bye.